Here we're going to talk about the slope-intercept form of the equation of a line. So this form is actually on your formula sheet. It's called slope-intercept form, so you don't even have to memorize it. It's on your formula sheet. And you'll see that it's y equals mx plus b. And we learned in the slope part 1 video that m is what represents the actual slope. So in this equation, m will be the slope. If you don't know how to calculate slope when you're given a couple of points, you need to watch the video, Slope Part 1, on the Facebook page. B is what's called the y-intercept. And so what does that mean? What does B mean? If you're given a line, so you have a coordinate system with x and y, and let's say you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then of course on this side it's -1, -2, -3, etc. -1, -2, -3, -4, etc. These go on for infinity. But what the y-intercept means is where on this y-axis, which is the vertical axis, where does the line intercept, or intersect, or cross that y-axis? So for example, if we had a line that looked like this, let's get it a little bit better. The place where it's crossing this y-axis is here at 2. So for this line, the b would equal 2 because that is where it's crossing the y-axis. If you had a line that looked like something like this, here where it's crossing the y-axis is here at -3. So for this line, b would equal -3. So again, this format is it's describing a line, and it's telling us the slope of the line and where it's crossing this y-axis. So in the end, for every line you're going to have, it's going to look something like y equals m. So whatever your slope is, let's say a slope is 5, x plus b, whatever your intercept is. Let's say your intercept was 7. So you're going to still have a y, you're still going to have an x. Every point on that line, every x and y point on the line can fit into those two. Y equals this, or 5 equals the slope, the m part of this equation, and 7 represents the b, the y-intercept part of this equation. So again, it's just a way to describe a line given its slope and its y-intercept. So some of the types of problems you might see on the test regarding this would be if you're given an equation and they want you to put it in slope-intercept form. For example, 2x plus y equals 7. They say put this in slope-intercept form. Well, that's this form. So all we need to do is get y by itself on one side and then have something times x plus a number. So this is kind of like an algebra problem. We need to get y by itself. So we're going to subtract off the 2x. If you don't know how to do the algebra part of this, then you can watch the algebra videos. So now we have 2x minus 2x, so we're just left with y equals 7 minus 2x. We generally write it with the x part in front, so we'll just switch these two around, put the negative 2x in front. This is a positive 7 plus 7. So this is written in slope-intercept form. We know the slope, which is m, is -2. We know the y-intercept, b, is 7. So if we had to draw this line, we have our coordinates with x and y. So we'd go up to 7. Let's say this was 7 on the y-axis because we know that it intersects the y-axis at 7. And we know the slope is -2. We know that a negative slope looks like it's going downhill So, I mean, we could figure it out exactly, but it's going to look something like this, that line. So we can draw it just based on knowing the slope and knowing the y-intercept. Another example would be 3x plus 6y equals 4. Write this in slope-intercept form. Again, we just need to get the y by itself. We're going to get rid of the 3x by subtracting 3x. 3x minus 3x is 0, so we have 6y equals 4 minus 3x. I'm just going to swap these two now so we can get it in this format. So it's negative 3x plus 4. We need to get the y by itself, so we're going to divide by 6. We have to divide this whole thing by 6. So 6 divided by 6 is 1, so we're left with y, which is what we want. And then we have to divide these into two parts. So we have negative 3 over 6 times x plus 4 over 6. Now we have to put these two things in lowest terms. If you don't know how to do that, watch the lowest terms video. Negative 3 over 6 can be written as negative 1/2 x if we divide the top and bottom by 3. Plus 4 over 6 can be written as 2/3 if we divide the top and bottom by 2. So now we have slope-intercept form. Our slope is negative 1/2 because it's negative 1/2 times x, so our slope is negative 1/2. Our y-intercept, or b, is 2/3. One more type of problem that they might give you is where they give you points and say, these are the points in the line, write the equation of the line. Now, one way that they might do this, and don't let this confuse you, is they might actually write them in a table. And they might say x and y, and then write something like 2, 6, 3, 10, 4, 14. So if you see a table and they're saying these are the points on the line, that just means, normally we write points with parentheses, right? 2, 6, 3, 10, 4, 14. That's all this means. This is 1 point. The x component is 2. The y component is 6. The x component is 3. The y component is 10. The x component is 4. The y component is 14. So these are 3 points on a line, and they want you to write the equation of the line. So we're going to write that in slope-intercept form. So we're going to write it, y equals mx plus b. So what do we need to figure out? We need to figure out what is the slope, and then we need to figure out what is the y-intercept. So what is the slope? Given these 3 points, what is the slope of the line? We can take any 2 points. It doesn't matter which 2 points we take. They're going to always have the same slope. So let's just take 2, 6 and 3, 10 and figure out the slope. Again, if you don't know how to do this, watch the video on slope, because I'm going to do this rather quickly. We have 2 points, x1, y1, x2, y2. We know that the slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So that's y2 is 10, y1 is 6, x2 is 3, x1 is 2. So we have 10 minus 6 over 3 minus 2, which is 4 over 1, which is just 4. So we know that our slope, we just figured out the slope, right? We took 2 points, figured out the slope. So m equals 4, our slope equals 4. So now we have y equals 4x plus b, because we just figured out what the slope is. But we still have to figure out what is b. So to do that, again, it turns into an algebra problem. When we have y equals 4x plus b, and we need to solve for b, and they've given us points on the line, we can choose any of the points on the line, because it has to hold true for every point on the line. So we can choose any one of these 3 that we want. We'll just choose the first one, 2, 6. So if this is our equation of our line, we have y equals 4x plus b. So this has to hold for every point on the line. If one of the points is 2, 6, remember this is the x component, this is the y component. So if y equals 6, so we'll put 6 in for the y, times 4, because that's our slope, or equals 4, times x, well here x equals 2, because that's the x component of that point, so we'll put 2 in for x, plus b. So we've taken 1 point, we have x and y, we've just plugged that in for this x and this y, so we have 6 equals 4 times 2 plus b. 6 equals 8 plus b. This is an algebra problem solving for b. We need to get rid of the 8, so we'll subtract 8 off. 6 minus 8 is negative 2, so b equals negative 2. So we just plug that in for b. So our final equation is y equals 4x minus 2. That is the equation for the line that's represented by these 3 points.